The fitness journey, the mindset, the discipline that's required, the consistency that requires, and I'll start there. Most people have a very difficult time being consistent. They'll start it, they'll feel good about it, and then halfway through, or maybe 30 days in, they'll start to feel a little bit discouraged because it's not easy to keep that same motivation day in, day out if it's not something that you're truly driven to achieve.
Welcome to this week's Escape Your Limits podcast for part 2 of Podcast Nation in partnership with the LA FitExpo. Today we sit down with 3 guests who have impacted the fitness industry in countless ways. In the first interview, we sat down with the 2016 classic Mr. Olympia winner and his partner. Together, they have been called one of the industry's power couples that have been successful both on and off stage. I also got to meet an elite celebrity trainer with over 350,000 followers across her social media platforms and operates a thriving personal training business as a strength and conditioning coach. Today, we talk about strategies for establishing attainable fitness objectives without succumbing to burnout, essential attributes to consider when choosing a compatible partner, and the deficiency frequently observed among individuals embarking on a fitness journey. So please welcome Danny and Monique Hester and Venus Moore to this week's Escape Your Limits podcast. Danny and Monique and Rocco, is that? No, that's my son's name.
Rockstar.
Rockstar. How did you guys all meet?
Do you want to tell?
At the gym, of course.
Yeah, at the gym.
With me. She worked in a big law firm right
law
next to the
firm.
gym.
Yeah.
So, and I was training people for the show, I don't know if you remember the show, Extreme Makeovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On ABC.
Right.
Well, we would train them at a mansion. That's where they filmed the show. And they would do extreme makeovers on people that like got their jaw cut off by some boating accident or something, you know, and they were just obese and just their life was not doing well. They would take the person and literally extreme makeover from plastic surgery, you know, facial, teeth, liposuction, I mean, you name it, get them like to lose 200 pounds. And so I was the trainer on the show. And behind the scenes, my friend Michael at the time was the face. But he didn't really train people. He just assigned them to me. And so I would take them and train them. And it was down at the gym, Powerhouse Gym, right there in Los Angeles. And her law firm that she worked at was right next door.
I was a paralegal.
Okay.
Yeah, for a boutique law firm inside of a large, very large law firm in West LA. So, yeah, I didn't know he was stalking me with his little puppies. He would take the puppies out to use the bathroom, and I didn't know. I'm like, la-di-da. I'm just kind of walking down the path on my, you know, thinking, okay, I can check this off my list because I'm pretty type A. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do my workout, and I didn't know, and he was there watching me. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So lawyer to kind of, you know, what is how would you describe what you're doing now? Your Olympia physique. Is that kind of a way to describe your passions?
Well, I would say Danny and I have both always been into fitness. So before, you know, when little girls are buying magazines and they're putting pictures up on the walls and, you know, at one point, right, I was actually reading Muscle and Fitness like cover to cover. I really was. And then when I got older, I was dating bodybuilders, just not even thinking about it, but I was always in the gym. Even before
Wait, so who was stalking who?
I didn't. No. You know what? The thing that I liked about him, because I had known a couple bodybuilders as friends and everything, I was like, oh, it intrigued me because here was a bodybuilder. I was like, okay, he has a nice physique, and you're probably not going to really get I'll explain this, but he was stretching. That's a big deal. He was stretching and he was agile. I was like, okay. So, sorry everybody who's listening, but a bodybuilder with a brain. I was like, wow, isn't that intriguing? And so then we got to have some conversations a little bit after, and yeah, he was a different sort of guy, the way that he thought. And then as I got to know him, he always had a goal to get to the Olympia, and you know, he can go on and tell you about that. But yeah,
Where did you get that? Where did you get the idea for that goal from? What was the moment?
Well, I was fortunate because, to be honest, it's sad to say, but if I would have been young and started now, I probably wouldn't have gotten into bodybuilding. just because I've always been an athlete. You know, I'm half Thai, my father's Cherokee, and I grew up doing, you know, Muay Thai and martial arts, and I grew up in a Latin neighborhood, so boxing. And then when I got to high school and college, I wrestled, you know, high-level NCAA. And so that was always part of me as being an athlete, but I always had really good genetics. I would touch a weight or do any resistance, and I would just really get shredded. My strength was not being a big guy. I grew very balanced. Some people, their body parts don't grow evenly. You can gain 20 pounds and your legs still stay small. But I grew very evenly, and that's how I was able to beat a lot of the bigger guys, is because of the balance and proportion. And so I got my wrestling coach got me into the bodybuilding after I got over wearing the really small trunks, you know, like they do in Europe.
Yeah.
But
we're tiny.
And so, anyways, I got into it, and I started going to shows and watching, you know, DVDs and videotapes of prior, you know, top athletes. And at that time, they were judging by the symmetry, and you could beat a much bigger guy, and it was happening, like Lee Labrada and some of the greats that were beating the bigger guys because the judging criteria was based on the criteria of, you know, muscularity, size and proportion, and symmetry. And nowadays, it's just about how big you are. It's a freak show, you know. And then that's when I started. I got into it, started doing well, got into magazine covers, and I was very popular and famous because I was marketable, you know, and I was in LA, and I trained a lot of celebrities at the time, and I started getting in the magazines and stuff, and I was making really good money, over $100-something thousand a year back in the early 90s, you know, with all the traveling all over the world to Japan, everywhere. And then the trend started getting where it was just the big mass monsters, you know. And that's when I said, you know what, I can't destroy my body this way. Genetically, I'm just not made to do that. I didn't want to force it. Being an athlete, I even tried to put on size, and I said, I don't feel right. You know, I can't move like I want to, and it was hurting. It would have hurt my other business, because a lot of celebrities and pro athletes I train, they look at me saying, wow, he looks great and he could move really well, because I do everything they do, you know. And if I was to get muscle bound, if I was to get muscle bound, I wouldn't be able to do that, and they probably wouldn't hire me, because they would say, and they'd be right, I don't want to get muscle bound to look like that.
What is a female perspective on that then? Like, do you know, in most cases, you know, because I know I interviewed Frank Zane, and everyone I talked to seemed to just love that real classic physique.
Right.
You know, as you say, it's gone extreme now, but what is it from a female perspective, you know?
Well, I definitely love the balance, and I like the fact that he looks healthy. You know, he's always looked healthy, and I appreciate very much, you know, there's so many things in life that can be cause for concern, but I don't need to be concerned about the fact that my husband will always take care of himself. And as far as his size, I appreciate that he has a knowledge of what is his best self, and he maintains that. He keeps track of that, so I don't have to be that woman coming alongside him like, honey, you know, do you think you, I mean, we don't have that really in our relationship. Like, do you think you should eat that? Because, you know, we look after each other, you know, so I like the way he looks. I felt...
Well, when I met her, I was actually a little bit lighter. I'm actually lighter now because I broke my hand kickboxing.
Yeah.
So I missed the last couple of Olympias, and a lot of people think I'm retired now. But even before that, the trend was to, you know, the bigger guys were placing and getting all the sponsorships. So I dropped out and I started designing fitness equipment, and I did well at that and opened gyms. And then and I met her.
Introducing the next big thing in functional training, the Escape Barrow, a revolutionary training tool that combines a loaded farmer's carry with a sled push to develop hip, grip, and core strength. Developed in partnership with Pete Holman, inventor of the TRX Rip Trainer and Nautilus Glute Drive, the Escape Barrow can be rolled, pushed, dragged and carried. The Escape Barrow packs a punch with an impressive load capacity of 440 pounds, and with a 2-stage galvanized paint covering process, it's also ideal for outdoor use. So head over to escapefitness.com/barrow. That's escapefitness.com/barrow to find out more. Enjoy the rest of this episode. How many years have you been together?
We met in 2005.
Right.
We got married 2011.
Yeah, but we've been like solid since 06. And honestly, what I was going to say is I like the mind. That is what intrigues me. I don't really care about the exterior. That happens after for me. So his mind intrigued me. He was different than anybody I had ever spoken to, and he kind of scared me a little bit, which intrigued me.
Why is that?
Well, because I came from a very sheltered background, and Danny did not. Danny was a lot more street savvy than I was. And so he just had some what appeared to be sort of wild ideas to me, coming from this very conservative.
What was one of his wild ideas then? Come on.
Well,
that you can share on camera.
Well, we would just talk about God a lot. And I came from I was always searching. And even in my family, I was kind of called like a bohemian or like a hippie, because I was very like, well, why? My mom would say, she'd say, now, I'm just going in the store for a minute. Don't make friends. Please don't talk to any strangers, and don't invite anybody home to dinner tonight. Because I didn't know a stranger. I would just talk with everybody. And he just had, his ideas were more progressive, and they're actually quite normal now when I gauge where I've come from and where I am now. But for me, it just seemed very like, I was raised just very, very conservative.
I grew up in, a decent neighborhood. My father worked for the CIA. He died when I was 2 years old. And he invested really well in real estate in the States. And at the time, we were in Thailand. I was born in Thailand. And so we moved here after he died. 6 kids. My mom barely spoke English. And she never remarried because we'd lose all the benefits, from him working for the government. So we got our college and health care and everything paid for. And so I never really had a father figure. It was just my mom. But interestingly enough, my mom's mom passed away at 7 from tuberculosis when she was 7. All right. And so her father, my grandfather, was police chief of Bangkok. So she was raised by a very authoritarian, male figure without a female. So she actually was a male-female way she was raised. And then now she's raising me with no father figure, but she kind of had that already, not so much just a mother figure. So it was a very interesting mix. But I still was looking for a father figure, and to me, it was about sports. All the different coaches, all the different dojos I went to, kickboxing places, anywhere that had athletics, that there was always, a male role model that I would want to impress and, dedicate myself and have the discipline to. And so that's how I got into the sports.
Discipline, I guess, is quite difficult for people to deal with in a relationship because, particularly when you're training for the Olympia, you've almost got to kind of be totally obsessed by that, and your food, your sleep, your focus, it's quite all-consuming, similar to a business, I guess, in some ways. And I'm quite fortunate. My wife can understand that and works well with it, but some people don't. What have you found has been some of the things in your relationship that have kind of brought you together in terms of sharing values about what you guys are doing that's helped to kind of, give you both a successful relationship?
For me, I would say we have a tremendous amount of trust between us, and we support each other a lot. We kind of have this rule where we don't go to sleep angry. We don't rush out of the house, drive off in a car, slam the door angry. We deal with it. Sometimes it takes a little more time, but we don't let it lie. I would say our mutual interests of staying healthy and wellness and we both have always discussed how, we want to be blessed so we can be a blessing to other people. And he and our thinking is limitless. I would say too that I am a woman, I pray a lot. So I have a really strong faith, and I'm okay with, I'm not his mother. I'm not trying to be. I'm not his father. I am here to be his best friend and his cheerleader and his love partner, and and I'm still learning and growing and changing myself. And there's times in our relationship where I don't know what to say, or I get so upset, and I'm like, God, deal with your son, because I can't right now. He's being a jerk, and I'm really sorry, but please deal with your son. I'm like, but at the same time, I always ask, I'm like, help me to see him through your eyes, so that I think grace has a lot to do with it, is extending grace to the other person, because this is another human that's in the same world I'm in and has struggles and has reservations about things, stuff that he knows, stuff he doesn't know. I also love that we trade position as alpha in the relationship.
Really?
without having to say, I'm going to be the alpha now. We don't do that. It just naturally happens. I totally submit to, okay, he's got this. And then there's times when he turns to me for something, and it works for us.
It's good to know the times when you're like, okay, I know I'm in my place now, it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm in my lane,
Right.
you're
Because
in your
it's,
lane.
sometimes it's the ego that gets in the way in both halves, and that's really where the problem lies a lot of times. And when you get married, we believe you're one.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would I do something or talk to myself a certain way? If I'm going to do it to her, I wouldn't do it to myself. And I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. So it's about giving respect and praise and everything else. And I always said, just like you should be your best friend. Step out of yourself and talk to yourself as if you were your best friend.
Yeah.
Give yourself advice as if you're your best friend.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, motivate and stuff. A lot of people
Don't shame
really
yourself.
keep just one person as themselves. It sounds kind of schizophrenic, but it really works, So why am I speaking to myself in my head this way about myself? Would I be doing that to a friend of mine that I want to encourage and
or
support?
a child?
I think a lot of times we do that, it's quite common, you even almost saying, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not good enough for this. And that's the conversation sometimes in our own heads, isn't it?
And it's you just really appreciate it, because where I've worked, my professional, other than what I do now, jobs, I guess you can say, I was a registered nurse in a mental hospital when I was very young. And so for me, I've seen so many things that normal people wouldn't see. Like all these people you see in the streets, before they were in the streets, before they cut the funding for it, I was taking care of those people. So I'm very familiar with it, all the diagnoses and everything that they go through, from drug addictions to mental breakdowns, all the different medications they have to take. I was more of a psych nurse. And then from there, after working there for years, I worked in a maximum security prison. So I've seen the worst of the worst in society, and I got to know a lot of them. And everyone has a story. It's not so black and white, and that's what you have to understand. And I always thought to myself, I could easily be in that position, Yeah. And then so when you see that part, and you can see what the human brain is actually capable of in that way, and then you work with so many high-level people, successful people, you see that's also a possibility too.
Yeah.
So you have to be very mindful and be humble that you can be here or you can be here. It's your choice.
With those, you've obviously, and I won't share, but you reeled off some interesting names, very big celebrities you work with. Do you also find those vulnerabilities in the celebrities? So on one side, they could be super successful, like world class, but then they're dealing with these.
They're
usually
just people.
right.
With the same problems, the same insecurities, but for whatever reason, something clicked inside of them that they were able to maybe quiet it down a little bit and then use this craft of acting to excel. I mean, it's fascinating, actually, but it's, I don't even know, I'm sorry.
They're one step away from being
on the street.
on the streets or in prison.
things.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I've been around long enough, 30 years of dealing with celebrities and high, level business people that I've seen them come up and go down and even back up sometimes. So, and I've had I've loaned my credit card to get, some people that made millions of dollars to get their car fixed at one time, and then they're back up again. So it's
I think the trick too
very
is
amazing to see that.
being non-judgmental. So it's one thing to be empathetic and to be there for somebody like Danny. People know that he's a safe place. He represents a safe place. I represent a safe place for a lot of people. We're not judging because we've been through our stuff too, and we are the first ones to go, well, I'm going through some stuff right now, and if you want to hear, I'll share with how I'm working through it. That's kind of where we're coming from.
Yeah, and the common denominator is you have to have a goal that you're going for. That's what kind of keeps the heart and your soul
Purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing. Yeah. Whether you're not making money at it or you're making a lot of money at it. And it because money comes and goes like this. But you need to have certain goals, and that's one of the reasons I like to compete. I stopped competing because of the size and all that, and I didn't want to ruin my physique, so I quit for about 8 years. And I opened the gym and got into designing fitness equipment and stuff like that. And then social media came around, and I remember one time these young guys were in my gym working out, and they were winning shows. I'm like, I could easily beat those people. And we're looking at social media, and I said to my wife, I said, I could still do this. As an athlete, you have a short window. And so she got my blessings, and we got rid of the gyms. And
you got my blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And went after it. And at 47 years old, I won the
47.
Classic Mr. Olympia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tri-tip and roasted yams.
She cooked all the meals.
I cooked all his meal. I did all his meal prep. But I was like, okay, you're gonna do this, then you have to give it everything you got. Yeah. I'm like, because it is a sacrifice for the other person, And for years we were building his career, and I'm sort of following him around, and he needs to talk to his people. Okay, so I do this, and okay, we do this, and he did it. And when he did, I remember. When he won that title, his mom was sitting directly in front of me, and I was sitting behind her, and I was kind of leaning in like this and everything. And when they announced it and everything, she and I were like, ah! Like this. We were both bawling our faces, and he was looking right at us, watching his mom and myself just bawling.
The only bodybuilding show after 30 years of competing. She never went to any. Not that she didn't like it.
His mother.
Yeah. Right, and I never asked her because I didn't know she would understand the sport, And so she went because it was in Vegas. She likes to gamble.
She likes to do the slot machines.
Right.
Yeah, and the buffets and stuff. So she came, my sister came, my brothers came. So the first time she ever saw me compete, I won the Olympia.
Wow. Yeah, it was so
sitting in the front row.
It was
yeah, when they put that gold medal on me, I just looked at them and they were crying. I was like,
she's like,
I could actually retire
see,
now.
Mom, see, Ma, see. And she's like, oh my goodness,
Right.
So who would you say that you guys became together as a result of that journey? Because my guess is you weren't the same people coming in it as you went out of it, and there was growth in different areas. But if you had to sort of explain that, what did you have to become through the process to get to that level, and how would you sort of explain it for someone that's probably thinking about getting on whatever kind of journey it is, whether it's Olympia, whether it's to lose some weight? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say for me, I used to look back on those times and I would think, this is not for the weak. Because he gets, when he's dieting, when he's not sleeping, when his body is going, doing all this thing in his mind and everything, it's not pleasant to be this person. And it's difficult. And I remember at one point I was like, oh my gosh, God. I'm like, did I not hear you right in marrying this person? Because I was literally like, and I just felt like in my spirit, what I got was, well, do you like who you are? Yeah. Do you continue to grow? Yeah. Do you get to do the things you want to do? Yeah. And he goes, well, there's your answer then. And I realized, and I was like, I'm stronger as a woman and within myself. Like he and I, we do a lot together. And we've traveled all over the world together. We did this thing on stage together, all these things. But we also have our own goals and aspirations. And it's wonderful that it works for us. I don't know that that would work for everybody, but there has to be an understanding. Like I said in the beginning when I was talking about trust, he trusts me to have enough respect for myself to live my life a certain way and in accordance with certain things. I do the same with him. And then we trust each other's feelings with the other person, which is a huge thing. And that took time to develop, you know. And I remember when he won, I was so proud of him, and I'm always proud of him, but I know how much he wanted it. And then he'll probably tell you there was a little bit that he went through after winning that was hard.
Yeah, as like nowadays, it's, you know, I was winning top level shows, but not because of the size game. That's why I retired. I wasn't going to continue that trajectory because I just know it was not gonna. I wouldn't be healthy right now, and so, you know, I dropped off. But before I dropped off, I was getting a lot of work. I was getting paid a lot of money. I was on probably not quite as many as Michael Hearn. He's a famous, you know, influencer.
Yeah.
I did a lot of covers.
Yeah.
I did every magazine covers. I got paid a lot of money. I was with the biggest companies sponsored, and I wasn't even a pro yet. And just because I lived in LA and I was always in shape, I was the go-to guy. They would hire someone to do a big photo shoot spread. They'd show up out of shape. They had the whole camera crew. They'd call me last minute. I said, no problem. Go right there. I was already tan because I was always on the beach, you know, in shape, and they'd shoot me. And you know, I had Joe Weider contracts. I knew Joe Weider. I used to go to the office because briefly I got into designing fitness equipment because I was the main spokesperson for Weider products. They didn't want a big bodybuilder. They actually wanted someone athletic looking. And I'm very photogenic in pictures because I'm balanced. So you really couldn't tell how big I was. You know, they just saw that I was very balanced. And so they used me for all the ads for Joe Weider home equipment that was in all the sporting goods stores. I was on all the boxes and everything. And I remember being at Joe Weider's offices and doing photo shoots for the equipment. And I would get on this bench, Joe Weider's bench, right? And I would get on, it would barely hold my body weight up. And they would put fake weights on, like 45-pound plates. So it looks like I'm benching like, you know, 2 plates on each side or more. And I looked at it and I said, man, they can actually keep the same margins because I see the materials they use and stuff. They just need to design it where structurally it could actually be stronger by just welding it over here and things like that. You know, I would give my suggestions and stuff, and I couldn't believe how much money he was making. And I looked into that industry, and that's when I got me interested in designing fitness equipment. Every equipment from that point on, I would sit in commercial gyms or home stuff I would see at the sporting goods stores. My brain would go, I can make this better. And that's what I started doing. And like I said, I have patents on fitness equipment and stuff. Not to get off subject, but so what my point is that the possibilities are always there. Never doubt yourself. The only way you lose is not to try. You know, that is the biggest thing. And even if you're trying and trying and trying, it might not be your time. Yeah. I never stopped bodybuilding. Yeah. I dropped out of competing, but I never stopped bodybuilding. If I would have, I wouldn't have been ready to jump back in the saddle and win the Olympia at 47 years old. Well, and that's what people have to keep in mind.
And it takes both people being willing to be brave enough, because there are times, you know, as a woman, and I'm sure listeners can relate to this, but we women want stability. Right. We want to know, okay, I'm going to be able to pay the bills. I'm going to be able to provide the food, you know, I'm going to be able to, and just go about my life. And so Danny is good at checking in with me and giving me sort of what I would say are marital catchphrases. You know, he'll say something like, okay, baby, let's sit down. You know, we're going to talk about, you know, we're going to make let's see how we're going to make our next million, you know, or you know, just little things that sort of like, okay, and I know, or
because when you're
humor.
an entrepreneur, as you know yourself, you could bring money, but it doesn't mean that's going in your pocket because you're always putting it out. And sometimes you run very dry where you're like, why am I doing this? Yeah. You know?
Quite frequently I have those situations.
Right, and sometimes she'll even say, baby, should I just get a regular job?
Yeah,
I mean, she got paid well what she did because she's very talented. If she worked a regular 9-to-5 job, you know, and I said, should I get a normal job? And I said, but we're not normal people.
Yeah, I'm like, it wouldn't be what I want, you know.
Right.
And I know that it's not like the destiny, but the fact that he would say to me, which was an encouragement to say to me, well, you could, but we're not regular people. We're not, you know, and not putting anything down that people do. I thank God for those people, but it's just, it's an understanding.
You have to have faith in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
you gotta
Being an
have faith
entrepreneur.
and in each other, and it is not for the faint of heart. This type of living and lifestyle.
So what are you doing here today? Because I know I've only got a little bit of time with you now left over.
We're doing this podcast, and then we're going to go get something to eat.
No.
And you've got a program that you're doing here, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a bit about that.
So the 3 pillars of optimal health, mental, physical, and emotional, or spiritual. I think we ended up calling it emotional, but really it's about spiritual. And we're just going to be talking about how to deal with those 3 things, keep them in balance, what might be the most important, what you lead with.
Because it's all connected.
Yeah.
You know, to make a complete, productive human and a productive life, you have to have all those in balance.
Right.
It's very important.
Yeah.
So where can people find about you? If they don't know you, you've both got quite large followings on social media, but where can people find out a little bit more about what you guys are up to?
So I'm on Instagram. It's at Monique Hester.
And we'll put that in the show notes so
thank
people
you.
can find that.
I'll give you the
So
spelling.
Instagram's the best way
Monique.
to get you.
I think, yeah, for now. I'm building other ways. I have a website and that. But Instagram, I'm on TikTok, but definitely Instagram and my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, which is also, I think, it might be Monique Hester as well.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And just for me, it's just my Instagram. I'm kind of old school. I need to get a little better with that. I think I'm probably going to start a YouTube channel or something.
And I think we need to have
Danny Hester.
a more in-depth conversation. I think you're in LA, so we should reconnect again.
Well, that's
That would be
the
wonderful.
beauty of fitness, because it reaches out to so many other industries. You know, I almost feel like I'm blessed to have this kind of platform of the fitness industry, but I'm also very interested in other genres, because I see that's my key to get into other pathways. Because whether it's business, it's still the same mindset to achieve something, to set a goal, you know. And everyone wants to get in shape no matter what you're doing, because you can have wealth, can get more wealth, but it can't get fitness.
No.
And so in a way, I have something that people need, and it helps me connect other people. And that's what I love about, you know, this fitness game, like meeting you here and stuff like that. And being blessed to actually be successful and knowing so many people and touching other people, where if I don't really need to utilize what you're doing, you know, at a high level, I know someone else that might. And I've done that for 30 years, where some sales guy that's just trying to pay rent, I hook him up with a company. And 20 years later, now he owns that company. I can always call another sales guy and say, hey, do you mind maybe giving this guy a job or looking at and talking to him? And I always have very goodwill, and I really appreciate that. And getting older, for me, that's one of the blessings, because you get to meet more and more people at the network. And my network is very big with goodwill, and I love just connecting people.
Yeah, it's a great industry. Well, you've inspired me just in the short time we've spent together. So good luck with everything.
Thank
you. Lovely to meet you guys, and
Thank you.
thanks very much.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having
Thanks very
us.
much. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Hi.
So what are you doing at FitExpo?
I am hosting my own boot camp here on the group training zone stage. So 10:30 a.m. both days.
Right.
Taught my boot camp. So it's called Guns and Glutes, combination upper lower body fitness, and it's run pretty actively, so you get a great sweat. So I really enjoyed offering that today and helping people get some great results today with that.
Guns and Glutes.
Guns and Glutes, yes.
Where did that name come from then?
Well, I wanted a name that that was attractive to men and women, so that men felt comfortable as well joining into the boot camp. So guns, I include things, of course, that include upper body, making sure they're getting in a great workout, and then glutes, of course, you know, for the women, for the ladies. So nice little combination.
We had a panel before, a fitness industry panel, and we were talking about getting more people active.
Yes.
And what do you think about where would you say most of your client base is? Are you working with people that are sort of advanced in their exercise journey? Because I know you do some celebrity stuff.
Yes.
But do you also get people in that have never worked out before, and you're getting people off the couch?
No, the majority of the clients I get in are brand new. They're really starting their fitness journey. They're learning how to eat clean and healthy. So I get to the opportunity to help them on their journey and learning like the different steps to get the results that they're looking for. So lots of times it's having the initial assessment, talking about where they're at in their lifestyle, talking about what it is that they're currently doing, if they're active, if they're not active, kind of stressing the importance of what they'll need to do in order to get results, talking about what the training method kind of looks like, and making sure that they're ready. And then my biggest thing is also asking them, what is your reason? What's your goal? What's your why? Okay, your why is important because you have to have something strong that motivates you, especially when you're first starting your journey, because you're going to have those days where it's like, okay, why am I doing this? Your body feels like, oh my God, like what happened, after you have a session. So it's important to really focus in on why you are starting your journey and being really specific about the goals you're trying to achieve to make sure that you stay the course and that you get there. Yes.
What do you think is one of the common reasons that people quit a program? Because if you look at a lot of the numbers for people to join a health club, it's generally they don't stick to a lot of these programs very often or long enough to make it a lifestyle. So what in your experience, why do people drop out? Or have you figured out a way to most of your clients, you do the right things and they don't drop out?
Yes. Well, let's say, I'll start here. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not easy. Yeah, the fitness journey, the mindset, the discipline that's required, the consistency that requires. And I'll start there. Most people have a very difficult time being consistent. They'll start it, they'll feel good about it, and then halfway through, or maybe 30 days in, they'll start to feel a little bit discouraged because it's not easy to keep that same motivation day in, day out if it's not something that you're truly driven to achieve. So I think honestly, most people it's difficult for them to stay consistent with what the regimen looks like. That's where I kind of come in to try and motivate them and trying to inspire them. And then all my clients are not the same. One thing I've learned is that you cannot give a cookie cutter program to each client. That's why I start every journey with every client with an assessment to really get to know them, to understand where they're at presently in their journey, what their struggles may be, different things that they're doing currently that may not be working successfully for them. So I know how to create and customize a program for them where they're going to see results. And then expressing that to them. Also talking about nutrition. One of the biggest other problems why people stop is because it's not easy to eat clean and healthy all the time. Guess what? Most people are motivated by their taste buds and what feels good to them. So getting them out of understanding, hey, that's great that tastes good and that's amazing, you enjoy that, but that's not going to help you get where you need to be results-wise. What that's only going to do is create unhealthy weight. We want to kind of get away from that and really focus on the nutrition side and the foods that are going to help you achieve your results. So lots of times, people don't enjoy starting that process as far as the clean eating part of it. But I love creating a meal plan for them. That's another reason why I have the conversation at first. Enjoying the foods that they enjoy. I'm like, if you don't like asparagus, don't eat asparagus, okay? There's plenty of lovely vegetables you can choose from. So helping them create a meal plan for them that they enjoy and that they can actually stay consistent with, and then just being that motivation for them and also holding them accountable. Holding them accountable, that's big. So I think having those components can create a successful journey for someone that's just getting started.
A lot of fitness programs miss that assessment component, and
Yes.
I've been in the space for a long time, and I kind of feel personally it's very difficult to get anyone where they are until you really figure out or get anyone to get to where they want to go unless you can figure out where they are.
Exactly.
For someone that's listening to this and is getting into a program for the first time or trying to get back into one, would your advice be to get a trainer that does have the ability to ask you the right questions and then to kind of figure out where your entry point into fitness is and how to go from there? If you had to choose one of the most important things for people to do to be successful, where would that sit, that kind of assessment?
I love it. So the assessment is twofold. I start with the initial conversation where we talk about their goals, talk about their lifestyle. Once we determine that and they decided it's a go and we decided we're going to move forward, the next assessment starts in the gym because, again, everyone's not the same. So I have to physically assess you to see where you're at, see your endurance, see your stamina, your physical ability, form. There's lots of things that I have to be able to assess first before I can create a successful program for them. So that's that's the second step is we head to the gym. And so I put them through a body weight assessment because that's the biggest thing. I can throw anyone on some weights and some dumbbells all day long, but how comfortable are you with your own body weight and moving your own body weight? So I put them through core movements, and then I do an upper body assessment, body weight, and a lower body assessment. I inform, again, seeing stamina, actually counting out reps to see when they actually start to fatigue. All these things tell me a lot, checking out their breathing. There's so many different components where I'm able to truly see where they're at so that I know how to create, again, a successful program for them. Once I understand where they're at, and then the next day, that's when the real work starts. So we start with the cardio component, getting them warmed up, and then we'll go into their total body workout, strength training workout. So it's typically about an hour or so. But yeah, I think the assessment has to happen. When I see trainers that start and they're just throwing someone in there, I'm like, well, how do you know what they're capable of doing if you don't assess them first? So that part is important to me, and I believe it also helps to build a relationship, a trust relationship between you and your client so that they understand their goals are important to you and that you really know where they're at. People look at me and they get intimidated. You watch my Instagram, they think, oh, I'm gonna have them in the gym doing what I do. No, everyone starts somewhere, baby steps. It's about progress, not perfection. So being able for them to understand, take your time, we're gonna get where we need to be, and we start here first. And I give them that gentle push while we're training. I don't have to yell at them, it doesn't have to be, something really, truly high energy as far as motivating them, but just kind of like coaxing them through it, especially if they're struggling, so that they feel accomplished, and then also high-fiving, you did great, also giving that encouragement throughout the session. And that just, again, makes for a successful relationship between me and my client. It's very important for them to understand it's about teamwork. I can't do my job properly if they don't do theirs. So when they understand what they need to do, combined with what I bring to the table and it comes together, we have a successful component to create some amazing results. And hopefully a lifestyle, getting it to become a lifestyle for them. And then, of course, I'm helping them do that, and that's the joy that I get and the passion I get from this business. So,
right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on online programs where they're probably online group programs where you've not got the ability to do that? Do you think, or any kind of studios or whatever, where you're just going in there and doing a workout, do you think
Yes.
that's a good place to get people started? Or do you think that, maybe going to a trainer like you should be, forget about that, just start there, and that's a better entry point?
I think it's a great place to get a sweat.
Right.
I think if they're looking for a workout and something just to get them active, it's a great tool. It's a great component. Like Orange Theory, I think, is one of the ones you can go and you just get in this amazing workout. That's awesome. But if you're looking for individualized results, specific results, and you have a goal in mind, that's going to help you as far as building up your endurance and helping you feel like you're being active. Because yeah, you're definitely going to get some results from doing that. But if you're looking to transform, the body transformation, it takes something, I believe, a little bit more specialized. So if you need something like that, then definitely working with a trainer one-on-one that kind of understands, again, what your goals are, what it is you're trying to do, and can create a program for you that will successfully help you achieve your results and your goals, I think is the way to go. So you kind of figure out, if you're just looking to stay active, some people are just already in their journey, and they just want to do something active. That's great. Okay, but again, something more specific, specialized, a whole body transformation, I think that's going to come from working one-on-one with someone that really can help them achieve those goals.
Right. What do you think about the craze with things like Peloton, where people are looking at that as a solution for their health and fitness goals?
Yeah, again, you're active. You're getting up in the morning or later in the evening or whenever you do it throughout the day, and you're staying active. Cardio is going to help you build up your endurance, so that's great. Riding your bike. Then, light weights, so again, staying active is wonderful. So I love when someone tells me they have a Peloton at home. I'm like, great. So on your days you're not with me, go and jump on that Peloton to make sure that we're staying active, because being active consistently is also important on the journey. But as far as, again, if they're looking for something specific, I think working one-on-one with a trainer would probably be their best bet. But definitely having something like Peloton or something like that at home where they're staying active and they see their bike there, okay, let me go get on that bike. I think that's a great tool just to kind of stay active on days maybe when you're not in the gym.
Where did you learn about the assessment? Sounds like it's quite in depth,
Yes.
and it sounds like, from the people I've spoke to, it sounds like a really great way of getting people started and then being able to progress them. What was that, something you learned yourself, or did you do some sort of formal? Did you have a mentor to teach you that? Or?
I have taken a lot of different tools from people in the industry. I'm a NASM certified personal trainer as well, so I have that understanding. So it's trial and error. When I first started, I wasn't doing assessments. No, because I'm just thinking, okay, you want to do this? All right, great, come on in. And what you learn is that if you don't have a roadmap and you don't have a guide, it's just like there's a saying like a boat. And it has to be navigate, right? So if you don't have your navigation in place first, where is the boat going to go? It's all over the place, right? But if you have a clear focus on your journey, then you know exactly how to get from point A to point B. So I learned through trial and error that having a roadmap or a guide for how I'm going to help people achieve their results was the most successful way to quickly help them get results. People don't want to train for a year. They want to see results pretty quickly. So I could sit and play around with, okay, let's do this or let's do that, or I can just be very clear about what I need to do to help them achieve their results and focus that way. So trial and error is how I learned to start doing the assessment. And also doing the assessment brings, again, strength to the relationship and trust to the relationship with you and your client, because you feel like, okay, she knows what she's doing. She understands me, okay. And they also get excited that you're going to actually help them achieve it. Okay, so that's kind of how I learned how to do that, was trial and error over the years.
You mentioned about getting people's why, and
Yes.
one of the common themes that I've had, certainly even on the interviews today, is the importance of the mental side of fitness.
Yes.
And Billy talks about the first 20 minutes of his program is setting you up mentally to be able to do the last 20% of the program. How do you view mindset, and is this something that you weave into your programs, or is it just purely the physical and the nutrition side?
No, mindset is everything. You have to truly be locked in and engaged on what it is you're focused on doing. The mind to muscle connection is another part of the training aspect, because you have to really think about the area that you're working on and the area that you're trying to train. When you connect and you stay into it, you really can I think, achieve the best results with the mind to muscle connection. Mindset is really getting focused and being really clear about what it is that you're doing, and also feeling good about it. So I think the mindset piece is very important when it comes to training, and I teach that as well. Getting my clients to actually believe this is something you can do. Okay, you have to believe that you can do it and you can achieve those results. If you don't believe it, it's going to be really difficult for you to get where you need to be. And then reinforcing it, of course, with the positivity from me, and motivation and encouragement as well. So I think the mindset part is really huge. And when you have your mindset, you have the nutrition, and then you have the physical side of it, I think it all comes together it's like poetry. It's beautiful. Yes.
A lot of people, my guess is that they have their ups and downs, and they have a crisis that happens in their life, and the first thing that sort of goes out the window is, okay, I can't work out today.
Nope.
I haven't got the time
Yep.
today. What would be one of your go-to things that you do to get someone out of that situation where it's like, okay, despair, I don't want to do it, life's not worth continuing with? Well, how do you sort of get people out of that?
First, again, baby steps, okay? And focusing on what's going on, and also talking about what it is that put them under, or the issue that they're dealing with. Focusing on that. Okay, that's done, that's over with. We're not going to stay there. Now we're trying to move into a new direction of what you're trying to achieve. So again, it goes back to the mindset of believing that you can get from here to there. Yes, you may have a limitation, you may have an injury, but being consistent with what you're trying to do is going to help you fix that injury. It's going to help you not. How do I want to say this? Improve upon that, so that you can see that you can actually achieve what it is that you're trying to do. If someone has gone through a difficult time or injury, yeah, it's hard to believe that you can come out of that. But quite honestly, motivating someone and helping them believe that they can do that is a big piece of what I try to do when I deal with that type of situation.
You say motivation and accountability are kind of like the two key things for a trainer, which I totally agree with. However, consistency.
Yeah.
However, you're not always around people. So what are you doing when you're not in between those sessions, in between those interactions together? What are you doing to sort of set the scene for that to be such as that, what are they going to eat when they, when they're sort of out with their friends or when they go and have a few too many drinks?
I love that. So one of the things I always tell my clients, number one, once I'm your trainer, I'm your trainer. If you're out and about, you have a question, you can always reach out to me. So I make myself accessible to them. I have a lot of people in the industry that I train that travel a lot. So they get somewhere and they're at their hotel, they're like, Venus, I don't know what to eat. Okay, hit me up. What's on the menu? Let's look at the menu. Okay, we can do this. Take the cheese off of that. Add this to it. Let's make sure we get some veggies here. And same thing, if you're out at a restaurant, assess the menu. If you have a question, hit me up. Hey, V, I'm here. This is the menu. This is the place I'm at. I'm like, okay, I'll check out the menu for them. All right, let's try this. Let's try that. You can choose this. It's helping them to kind of understand. You can always have a clean and healthy meal if you have the mindset of it. But some people, when they get in that, okay, they can take a break away from it. No, you can still eat clean and healthy even when you're traveling. Sometimes you might have to modify something that's on the menu, which makes sense, okay? But modify it as opposed to choosing something that's not going to help you achieve your goals or is not in alignment with helping you achieve your goals. So it's really okay to be in that space, It's really okay if every day you're not focused on fitness, but also staying consistent with the mindset of staying away from those things are not going to help you achieve your goals, I think is the best way. And then the next day getting back on it. And if you have a tough day or a bad day, it's really okay. You don't beat yourself up over it. You get back on the horse and you start back on it. So it's just, again, the mindset of staying consistent towards whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve. Understanding you are going to have good days and bad days. And that's normal. That's life. It's about balance. And once you learn to achieve that balance, I think that's a beautiful place to be with your journey.
There's a lot of conflicting information about diets. We were just talking about fasting before we started here, and protein, no protein, animals, no animals. It's kind of a bit of a minefield for people who are not in the space.
It is.
Have you found, in terms of transforming people, there being some real sort of diet 101s that you say, look, no matter who I'm working with, here's a few things, get these bits right, and you're in a good place.
100%.
So what would those be?
Yes. So, the first question I ask is, do you understand what normal eating is and clean and healthy eating? Do you understand the difference? A lot of people don't, so I start there. I help them understand what macronutrient-based diet looks like, whole foods. These are the foods that you should be eating, as far as covering proteins, the veggies, and the proper carbs. Everyone doesn't always know that. So first establishing that base so they understand what clean eating looks like. And then I compare it to how they're eating now so that they can kind of see, okay, all these foods over here that you're choosing are really only going to help you, they're not going to help you achieve your goal. These foods are only going to create unhealthy weight. There's nothing nutritional in them. And when you understand these foods I'm choosing here are not going to help me meet my goals, then you kind of understand the value of what these foods are here. I don't like to throw supplements in right away. I just don't. I like for you to eat. I want to see you eating, and that's the kind of meal plan that I create. 3 meals at least, healthy snacks in between, and that's kind of what the program looks like for them. Now, once they start eating, and I see them eating consistently, also understanding breakfast, lunch, dinner when they're first getting started. And we talked a little bit about intermittent fasting and things of that nature. That's a bit more advanced. You don't want to go there first when you're first starting your journey. Let's just teach you how to eat clean and healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner. Can I get you there? Can we get some healthy snacks in? Once they kind of understand what that looks like, then I might throw in supplements, because supplements are to enhance a clean and healthy diet. They are not actually meant to, in my opinion, help to create that. So a supplement, throwing in supplements after they've learned how to eat clean and healthy is really the direction that I go with that. Protein shakes are always great, but eat your protein. I want to see you eating your protein first. So that's kind of an idea. But also making sure your vitamins, making sure you're getting those, the daily supplementation for vitamins that we're not getting in our foods daily, I think is important as well. So making sure that they have a strong supplement regimen there, in addition to eating clean and healthy, in addition to working out consistently, in addition to understanding the discipline that is required to achieve all of those things, and just repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And the repetition is where you end up getting the transformation and the great results.
What about recovery? Is there anything, do you spend much time on
Yes.
Sleep, rest. If so, what have you found works on there that
Sleep.
most people don't really do very well?
People don't sleep. People don't sleep, or they don't value sleep. So it's so important for them to understand, hey, your rest is super important. That's where your body recovers at night. It's also where the muscles rebuild at night, okay? So it's super important to make sure that you're including your rest in recovery after you're working out, having a great session, and then the next day maybe being an active recovery day. What does that look like for you? Maybe a walk around the neighborhood, maybe hiking, maybe just some light cardio, nothing like, super major, but just making sure that we're staying active. Again, it doesn't have to be like a strength workout. So you have a strength workout and then recovery, a strength workout and then recovery. Now, depending on your fitness level, you might be able to go hard, boom, 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 and then recover. So I think every client is different, but I like to at least get in a minimum of 2 to 3 days of recovery, minimum 2-3 days of working out throughout the week, figuring out what works best for each client, and also just making sure they understand you have to recover. That's important so that the body resets and that we can rebuild on the reset the next time that you're coming for your session.
So my final one, which kind of relates to recovery, because a lot of times when we're tired and stressed and life's not going in our way, we start to beat ourselves up, and we probably don't have positive self-image, and
Sure.
and then it's almost like, well, yeah, maybe I don't. They don't want to make that investment in themselves because they think they're not worth it. Do you ever have any clients where you've almost kind of got to get them to the stage where they're ready to take on this journey? They actually feel good about themselves, because certainly in my experience, if you're tired, you're going through a tough time, you don't eat well, you don't want to work out, you don't feel good about yourself, and it becomes this sort of downward spiral. It's very difficult to get out of it, and in some cases it's almost like, well, you don't value yourself enough to want to do that. Are some of those things that you as a trainer tend to have to deal with at all?
Yeah, I mean, you always get clients that start and you just don't see the effort. One of the things I always tell my clients is, I'm not your workout buddy. I love you to death, but I'm here to help. You hired me for a reason. So I'm here really to help you achieve the goals and the results that you asked me for. So it's important that it's a twofold thing here. Helping them to understand that what they think they can do, they can actually do. And also continuing to encourage them throughout the process. That might be texting them. Sometimes I'm like, hey, show me what your meals are. I want to see your meals all throughout the day. And for the first week, I want to see how you're eating. So having them engage, checking in, hey, what's for breakfast? Hey, are you drinking your water? Stressing the things that are important and actually checking in. When I see someone is struggling maybe mentally or having an issue with the mindset piece of it, I make sure that I'm connecting with them and kind of reaching out too, to make sure that they understand, hey, I'm here if you need me, and you got this, you can do this. So it's not going to be easy to get where you need to go, but if you stay consistent, you will get there. And helping them understand that the consistency and the discipline and teaching a brand new client that piece is everything in them seeing a successful transformation. Because once they're able to start kind of do that and they're starting to see results and they start to get excited and wow, and then you have family members are like, wow, you look great. What are you doing? What are you doing? Or people, coworkers, wow, you look great. So now they're inspiring other people around them, and they're like, oh, okay, wow, I see this is working. So they start to get excited that they can actually do it, and I love hearing that. I love hearing, hey, someone said, they could tell, that I lost weight, and so you kind of see the progression of them starting here, kind of not knowing if they can do it, and them kind of getting stronger and stronger and more resilient, and finally they're at it, and they're excited, and I see a change and a difference in their effort and their energy when they're working out. So it's really just encouraging them and helping them believe that, again, this is something that you can do. You had this thought, you reached out to me for a reason, but it's also important to start people when they're ready. Starting people when they're not ready is not going to be successful because they won't stick to it. So I said, don't reach out to me till you're ready. And once you're ready, let's sit, let's talk about what we're going to do. And just know I got you. I'm here to help you throughout your process. And my joy is in you seeing results. So that's why it's important that you do your part. Okay, so again, teamwork effort. I bring what I bring, you bring what you bring. We come together, and we make magic. So.
Couple of just questions before we finish off.
Yes.
What have you got going on at the moment then?
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, here, I was at the FitExpo, so I did, boot camps are not my forte, but I do love doing boot camps. So that's a piece, so that's sometimes I'll do the group training aspect of it. I'm getting ready to launch a challenge. I do challenges as well. It's called a Savage Shred Challenge. I'm in volume 7 of it. And so it's a
Savage tread.
Savage.
Okay.
Savage shred. Yes.
Oh, shred. Okay, right.
Yes, fitness challenge. It's a 30-day fitness challenge. So basically what I do is help with the mindset and the transformation, helping clients achieve a transformation over a 30-day period. So it's a 4-week process. Every week we're doing a different workout. They start off with their workouts with me. I provide for them a meal plan, grocery list, and encouragement and motivation throughout the process. I have an amazing platform that I use where they get to connect with other challenge members and other participants, where we're talking and we're motivating and we're posting our meals and daily encouragement. That's another thing, is when you have an accountability partner is everything sometimes. When they see other people are doing the same thing they're doing, it's exciting for them. So everyone's kind of engaging. So so that's getting ready to start. That's the Savage Shred Challenge, and it actually kicks off tomorrow.
Okay. So if you're ready for
Yes,
that.
yes. And then I'm a one-on-one personal trainer, so that never stops. That's amazing. So again, helping people daily achieve results and helping them feel good about themselves and motivating them, and that's my joy. I'm very passionate.
Yeah, I can see that.
About this life. I know sometimes I just go because I just love it so much, and I'm very happy God led me here to be doing what I do and to be able to make a living doing what I love and helping others find their greatness within and see success on their journeys has been amazing. So I love what I do, and it's been a beautiful ride so far.
So my final question, I'm going to put you on the
Yes.
spot. So before we started, we were kind of talking about, you were thinking about, well, what's that next step? What's your calling?
Yes.
And I'm going to put you on the spot and say, okay, if you could do anything, what would that be, do you think?
So there's like 3 things, to be totally honest. Okay, so first it's establishing my own studio. Yes. I think that's the next step, is having a place where all my clients can come. So I'm looking to do that hopefully within the year 2023. So the first Body by Venus fitness studio. Not only training people looking for results, but also youth athletes and professional and collegiate athletes. So I'm in the process actually of obtaining my strength and conditioning certification with ISSA. They were here earlier. So because that's the next piece. I'm interested in possibly moving forward in that direction and training professional athletes and collegiate athletes. So that's another piece coming down the line that I'm looking to tap into later this year. Also, I'm excited to create a mentorship program for up-and-coming trainers so that they understand what this business looks like, because it can be very challenging and intimidating getting into the business and just feeling like, goodness, how do I get started? Teaching them the success tips and success steps I've taken to build a successful business, thriving personal training business, and helping give them some direction so that they feel like, okay, I can do this. So those are a couple things that are on the list for this year, God willing, that I'll be able to manifest and see through. So
should we do this? Should we book an appointment in your new studio in December?
There we
and then we'll
go.
kind of do another workout, shall we? Is that a
how
deal?
you do it. That's how you do it. You put the intention and make sure you follow through with it. I agree. Yes.
All right, Venus, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you've got any value from it whatsoever, then please do us a favor, like, subscribe, tell somebody, and that will help us to be able to continue to do more of these and help you escape your own personal limits. Thanks for listening.